Alright, so before we get into the video, we're going to be talking about the Rolando Romero versus Anthony Yidgett post-fight review. So, Rolando Romero destroys and stops Anthony Yidgett in the 7th round and improves to 14 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws, 12 wins coming by way of knockout. My thoughts on it, very good performance from Rolando in this fight. Very dominant. Did get caught by Anthony Yidgett. That did catch Rolando's attention, but Rolando was very dominant in this fight. You know, Yidgett was getting beaten up and was getting tossed around by Rolando. All I gotta say, people need to stop disrespecting Rolly, bro. Like I'm a fan of Rolly, you know. I might be biased, but you know, I'm a fan of Rolly, you know. I don't like how people be disrespecting Rolly, bro. It's like the dude is good. It's like I feel like the reason why people were just booing him at the fight is because he's Mexican and he's a Mayweather fighter. And you know, that's usually how people are when Mayweather is promoting a Mexican fighter. Then they start booing for some apparent reason. I mean, we all know why, but you know, but very good performance from Rolando. You know, very impressed. Yidgett is tough. You know, he did come in there. You know, he did try his best. You know, he did catch Rolly for here and there with some shots, but Rolly was just too much, too strong. You know, he was just too dominant for Anthony Yidgett, and he just got destroyed and laid out. I'm gonna be honest with you. That was pure luck. The first not pure luck, but I don't know. Would you call luck the first knockdown? Because literally, he just got abducted a point, and then after that, he just knocked him. He just put him on ice skates and knocked him down. That's crazy. Like not crazy, but it's pretty surprising. Like we all know how much power Rolly got, but man, dude, he just dropped him like that. I think it was like a 9-8 round for Rolly, and then I haven't given a round to Anthony Yidgett. You know, like he was just getting beaten up badly, but definitely good performance from Rolando Romero. So yeah, but on to the video. Hey, what's up, y'all? Preston for Fight Media 360 here. So this is a quick preview and prediction for the Juggernaut Joyce versus Carlos Takam. So before we get into all this, if you guys don't know, this fight takes place on July the 24th on Saturday. I believe you would have to pay for it. Here in the United States, I don't know why the hell they would do that. Um, I know that you know the UK got a different channel to watch it on, but I probably but really in the States it's really not a good pay-per-view. I think it's pay-per-view, but to be honest, it's not a good pay-per-view. Nothing against Joyce or Carlos Takam. It's just it's not pay-per-view worthy or anything. I know it's probably not that much money, but I'm just saying it's not worth it, and I don't recommend you guys to buy it, even if it is pay-per-view. So yeah. So now we got that out of the way. So now let's talk about their stats, and then the odds, and then what they need to do to win, and then my final prediction. So let's start off with Joe the Juggernaut Joyce. So Joyce comes into the fight with a record of 12 wins, 0 losses, 0 draws, 11 wins coming by way of knockout. He stands at a height of 6'6" with an 80-inch reach. And of course, Joyce is coming off a very good win against Daniel Dubois in 2020. Very good fight, but Joyce just jabbed him out and just busted up his eye, and just Daniel Dubois can not take anymore. And yeah. Alright, so now Carlos Takam. Hold on, guys, my computer is acting up here. Sorry, guys, if it's taking a bit. Okay, right here. So Carlos Takam comes into the fight with a record of 39 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, 28 wins coming by way of knockout. He stands at a height of 6'1.5" with the 80.5-inch reach, and I'm very shocked that Carlos Takam has a longer reach than Joe Joyce, which is in my opinion complete BS. I do not believe that at all. I think that's just BS. But that's according to BoxRec. We don't know what his real reach is. But obviously, Carlos Takam coming off a good win against Jerry Forrest. Not really a top fighter at all. Not even not even in like the top 20 or anything like that. But he did dominate that fight. He did he did box Jerry Forrest's ears off. Good win for Carlos Takam. But yeah. Alright, so now the odds. Joe Joyce is listed as a negative 1.1K favorite over Carlos Takam. So he's the very big favorite. So so now we got that out the way. So now let's talk about what they need to do to win, and then my final prediction. So let's start off with the very big favorite, Joe Joyce. So what I would like to see from Joe Joyce is do what he did in his last fight, is to really out jab Carlos Takam and really just definitely keep Takam at range. Move your feet around just all you do. Use kind of like your slow jab, and then kind of like use your hook when you're trying to move around and stuff. Kind of like what he did, similar to the fight against Daniel Dubois. Just out jab Carlos Takam and really just really just paw at his face with the jab and really just keep the fight, like make it your fight, make it like your fight on keeping it at mid range, using your jab, like using your hook again, moving your feet around and just really just outboxing Carlos Takam and just pretty much just be too much for Carlos Takam. Just pretty much just do what you did against Daniel Dubois and just out jab Dubois and really just if he can keep his jab just like how he does and just shoot his jab at Carlos Takam, he can like Carlos Takam can't do anything and I don't see him getting past that jab. Maybe he can catch it with a good hook here and there, but I just think that I think that Joe Joyce's jab would just be too much for Takam, and I think that jab would play a big factor in this fight. So that's what Joyce needs to do, is to shoot his jab, again, use your hook to move around the ring, maybe, hit him with the hook, move around, and then just keep jabbing him, and just pretty much just outbox Takam and then box his ears off, because Joe Joyce is a very good boxer. Not saying he has a whole lot of power. The thing is, Joe Joyce, yes, he has 12 wins with 11 knockouts, but he's not that fighter that carries. I mean, it's not like he has feather hands, but he isn't a knockout artist. He doesn't put people to sleep or just wobbles people. He's really that fighter who just pretty much just outboxes you to the point where it just hits you a lot to the point where you just can't handle it. Because usually like Joe Joyce bust up your face and all that, and just tears up your face and just pretty much just out jabs you. The only person to actually go the full distance, I know you guys don't give a flying hell, but the only person to actually go the distance against Joe Joyce was Bryant Jennings. I remember watching that fight. But I I was always high on Joe Joyce, but he was really, really, really freaking boring. Like even now, he is boring. Even though we all know of the talent that he got, he's a very very talented boxer. But like the thing is that like he was very very boring. And also also the thing about Joe Joyce is that I feel like he doesn't have that much time left in boxing because he's only 12-0 and he's 35 years old. So he doesn't have that much time left in boxing. You know, like he really needs to fight all these guys that he wants to fight because he's damn near 40 years old. So, so there's not a big, you know, there's not a big, age difference between the two. Carlos Takam is 40 years old and Joe Joyce is 35 years old. So there's just a, a, a 5 year gap between the guys, but a big a big what is it called? Like a big gap when it comes down to like difference in like of like kind of like who been doing boxing longer, kind of like. But that's really what Joe Joyce needs to do is to really just shoot the jab against Joe Joyce. I mean against Carlos Takam, and really just outbox Carlos Takam. So that's what Joe Joyce needs to do to win. So now for Carlos Takam. Really, man. I mean, Carlos Takam can have a chance to win, but most likely the key to his victory is to beat Joe Joyce to the punch, which is very difficult to do, especially how he's the shorter person by a lot too. He can still use his longer reach against Joe Joyce and try to beat him to the punch and try to just outbox Joe Joyce, and just pretty much just make Joe Joyce look really really slow and pretty much just try to look fast because to be honest, I know people criticize Carlos Takam on him being, like old. Yes, he is old, but the thing is that Carlos Takam, that dude got fast footwork for how old he is. Like the dude can still box very very well, and I think that he can outbox Joe Joyce. He just needs to it's just, does he have the speed and does he have the technique to like beat Joyce to the punch? Because obviously the quicker puncher is Carlos Takam, but there's a big size advantage between the guy because Joe Joyce is significantly bigger than Carlos Takam, but Carlos Takam has a longer reach, which is in my opinion complete BS. There's absolutely no way he has a longer reach. There's absolutely no way that Carlos Takam has an 80.5-inch reach, which is again complete BS. I think that Joe Joyce easily has a longer reach than Carlos Takam. Like I honestly do not believe BoxRec on that, but that's really what Carlos Takam needs to do is to try to beat Joe Joyce to the punch and like not really tear up the body of Joyce because Joyce is just gonna move around, so it's gonna be very difficult for you to find the body of Joyce. Even though Joyce's body is wide open, I still think it's gonna be tough for Carlos Takam to get that body. So really just counter whenever Joyce is trying to come in because even though Joyce defeated Daniel Dubois, Dubois was still hitting Dubois. I mean, Dubois was still hitting Joyce a lot, with the hooks and stuff. And they were hurt, and it looked like they were hurting Joe Joyce. I know that Carlos Takam carries a lot. Not Carlos Takam, but I know that Daniel Dubois carries a lot of power. I think he has a 90% KO. He has like a 90 KO percentage, according to BoxRec. But Carlos Takam needs to be aware that Joe Joyce isn't invincible. Even though he moves around, he still gets hit a lot, and I think he needs to, suck it up, try to get through try to like figure out how to get through the jab of Joe Joyce, and then try to again beat Joe Joyce to the punch, and just try to outbox Joe Joyce, because both these fighters are they're both boxers. They like to fight at mid range. You know they're not much of brawlers. They're just mainly just boxers. But yeah, so that's what Carlos Takam needs to do to win. So yeah. So my final prediction for this fight, I mean, it's a good fight, you know, but there's no way I see Carlos Takam winning this fight. I think that Joe Joyce is gonna win this fight by a TKO and maybe the mid or late rounds. I'm leaning more towards the mid rounds. I just think the jab of Joe Joyce and the boxing ability of Joe Joyce and the size comparison with Joe Joyce is gonna be way too much for Carlos Takam, and I just feel like Joe Joyce would be way too slick for Carlos Takam, and I think he would really struggle to find the shots with Carlos Takam because, I mean, Takam, like he's really that kind of fighter who just tries to time you, He tries to find that perfect shot, to try to punch you, and I feel like that would not play a big factor for Carlos Takam in this fight. And that's why I pick Joe Joyce by a TKO in the mid or late rounds. Leaning more towards the later rounds. I think I already said that. Not sure. But I'm leaning more towards the later rounds. So yeah. So that's my final prediction. I got Joe Joyce by a TKO in the mid or late rounds. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. I'm Preston from Fight Media 360, and thank y'all for watching this video.